Hey, hey, Mom Nation, and welcome to Make Dollars Make Sense. I am so excited about the launch of this podcast. Welcome, ladies. Hey, Trudy. Hey, Jen.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, hey. So glad that you can be here with us today to share your experience and your expertise. Guys, I know that you have been following me for quite some time. So, there are lots of Mom Nation podcasts out there and they cover different topics. Well, Make Dollars Make Sense. You might already kind of have a clue what it's about, but it's a real conversation, a real one, guys, about money without the overwhelm, without the shame and the confusion, because we're just over it. We've had enough of that, haven't we?
Pretty much.
Yeah, no joke. So the show's designed to break things down in a way that actually feels doable, starting with the mindset behind money, because we have to start at the beginning. And it's going to move into simple and practical steps that you can use in your everyday life. And I am so excited to jump into these episodes so that we can do just that. Today, we're going to start at the beginning with money management and helping people finally understand where their money is going so they can take back control. I'm joined by my amazing co-hosts, Trudi and Jenn, who each bring their own real-life experiences, perspectives, and honest conversations around money. This is not about perfection, guys. It is about what actually works in real life and the conversations that people aren't having, but they really need to. Would you guys agree?
I totally agree.
For sure.
Yeah, like the whole money mindset. Do you guys think that's a great place to start?
We do. There's a little bit of stuff before the money mindset that sets in that we'll chat about today as well. But I think the money mindset is probably the base, part of the foundation that you build upon.
I'm excited to get into that conversation too. And that sounds like that might not be today, but that's totally okay. I have a feeling that conversation might include childhood experiences, things that we learn, like everything.
Trauma. A little bit of trauma.
Exactly. I know we can always dial it back to that, but let's start here. Let's start with, why do so many people avoid looking at their money in the first place? And I'm going to tell you from personal experience, guys and ladies, I don't know. Can you recover from that? I feel like I might be recovered, but I was one of those people. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to look at the bank account. Actually typing in my username and password into my bank account online, made me sweaty. It got me freaked out. What's up with that? Why am I like that?
So honestly, Katie, most people don't avoid their money because they're irresponsible. Although you feel that way, right? You feel kind of irresponsible. They avoid it just because that feeling that you just explained. You don't know what you don't know, and how they see themselves as well is a big, huge part of that. So if I break it down simply, there's really three things going on that Jen and I will talk about, first of all, and that is that money can be really uncomfortable. It's less talked about than sex or religion, right?
It is.
For a lot of people, just looking at their accounts brings up that stress, that uncertainty, even fear. I too was one of those people. And the brain is wired to avoid anything that feels like a threat. And would you agree that feels like a threat?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So avoiding it actually makes you feel better in the moment, and then it reinforces the habit. And Jen's going to talk about step number 2. The second thing, it's really crazy how it works out.
Part of the issue is that there's no clear next step. Even people who are doing a lot right will still look at their situation and think, okay, but what do I actually do with this? When there's no clarity, the brain stalls. Think like analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
So instead of making the wrong move, they make no move at all. And I know I am very, very guilty of that.
Yeah, I was too. I was very guilty of that. And the third one is, and this is a deeper one, and we'll get into this in probably later podcast as well, and it's identity. If someone has a story like, I'm not good with money, or I'm not a numbers person, they will subconsciously act in alignment with that. And that's not opinion. That's just how behavior works. It's something studied in self-identity theory. So if they want to do better, even if they wanted to do better, they couldn't, because if their identity hasn't shifted, their actions won't stick. They'll automatically go back. And so when you put it all together, people really avoid their money because it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's not clear what to do, and it doesn't match how they see themselves. And the real shift really doesn't come from more information. It comes from changing your environment. And that means you need an environment that feels safe to look, simple to take the next step, and empowering enough to start seeing yourself differently.
Interesting. And I feel like, again, like we mentioned in the beginning, what we experience throughout life tends to shape how we handle things as adults, right?
It really is.
So maybe, you grew up in a household where money wasn't around. You didn't have any.
Yep.
It was hard to come by.
That was me. We
Right?
can't afford that. We can't afford that. That's what I heard all the time.
Right. Or, could it be on the other side of the coin too? Could it be something that shapes your anxiety? Maybe your family did have money, but maybe it was like money is the devil type conversation or type mindset.
Money is evil. Money is evil. That was that when I was asked money is to finish that sentence in a book that I started reading many, many years ago, I finished it with money is evil. And if you think money's evil, you're not going to want to be around it. If you think that money will make you a worse person, you're not going to be around it. You're not going to want to be around it. And once again, it goes back to that identity, right? I identified as a poor person for a very long time. And I acted like a poor person. I treated money like I was a poor person. I hoarded it. I didn't want to, spend it, or I did want to spend it like it was going out of style.
One or the other.
So it's really goes back to that identity. And we'll get into that in later podcasts as well. But it really starts out with understanding and getting some basic foundations built first.
Awesome. So let's talk about that misconception that people have around creating like a spending plan or a budget. I know we don't like the B word. I know we prefer to call it spending plans around here.
Yeah. Or budget. A budget.
A budget.
Would you like a budget?
Katie said the B word.
I did.
Katie
I totally said the B word. Sorry about that. But just so that people understand like what a spending plan is that the same as the B word?
So I will take that one. Most people think a budget means cutting everything enjoyable and living in deprivation, right? That's what I thought it meant. That B word actually was not said by me for a long, long time. And then I learned that I could call it a spending plan. And that is so much more my personality. And what's true about a spending plan is a well-built spending plan allocates money on purpose, including fun. So we got to have fun. But this misconception exists because many budgets are taught as expense cutting tools only. And people associate budgeting with financial stress or past failures. So when it comes to doing the budget, all kinds of ick. The reality is the income comes in, you get to decide where it goes before it disappears. Before. Some goes to essentials, some goes to future, like saving and investing, and some goes to lifestyle, which is your fun and your experiences. And Katie, a good plan doesn't remove freedom, it creates controlled freedom. If someone feels restricted, it's usually because the plan is unrealistic or it wasn't built around their actual life.
And that goes right into the second piece of that, which is what I needed, what I started out doing. Like I've got a budget, so I'm going to track every dollar perfectly. And what most people think, if they're not tracking every penny, that they're bad with money. I thought that for a very long time, and I didn't even know how to track my money. But what's actually true is perfection. I really don't like that word. It should not be in our English language because it really doesn't exist. Perfection doesn't exist, but it's not required for financial control. And this misconception exists because most traditional systems emphasize detailed tracking. How many spreadsheets are out there. I have like 2 that I've bought that I don't even use.
Mm-hmm.
How many apps are out there? How often do you see on social media that it's promoting hyper discipline as the baseline or the standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is, you want a goal. The goal should be awareness plus direction, not perfection, because perfection just doesn't exist. And frankly, over tracking often leads to burnout. It did me. I over tracked for years. And finally I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't have time anymore. And so that's people quit entirely. And so what actually works better is broad categories. So, and this has worked fantastic for me over the years. And that is broad categories like housing, food, lifestyle, future. That's it. Simple structure that's repeatable. And the truth is that consistency beats precision every time. I would much rather use the word precision than perfection. Mm-hmm. Jen has a little bit more to add to that.
Yeah. So it took me a long time to shift my mindset from scarcity to abundance. Mm-hmm. And after I was able to kind of make that shift, I got it into my head that someday, because I hate the B word so much, someday I'm going to be rich enough where I don't need to budget. I can just spend whatever I want to, right?
I can picture it.
Right? Thank you.
You need a hose.
Yeah.
Just
like...
At our national convention, somebody had a gun that was shooting out fake dollars. It was hilarious.
So awesome.
Yes, it was awesome. So people think if they make decent money, they shouldn't need a budget. And what's actually true is that higher income without a plan often leads to more leakage, not more wealth. Because budgeting is often marketed as a get out of debt tool.
Right.
And that makes people confuse income with financial control. So the reality is, if income increases, spending increases at the same or faster rate without a plan. Mm-hmm. And then your net progress is 0 or worse. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is a well-documented financial behavior pattern, one that I'm familiar with. The spending plan is not about survival. It is about efficiency, intentional growth, and protection of what's being built. We are big on protection around here.
Yeah, and that's important.
The bottom, it really is, because why are we going to put all this effort into managing our money and then just let it go when something unexpected happens?
Yeah.
A spending plan is not about control in a negative sense. It's about direction, intentionality, and making sure your money is doing what you actually think it's doing.
Love that.
Me too. Something that you had said, Trudi, that really stuck out to me when I'm thinking about anxiety and about, that big push, that big speed bump that we have to get over, some of us, in order to move forward with a spending plan or put together a spending plan or maintain a spending plan, is how easy is it to maintain? Yeah. Like you had mentioned, there's a whole bunch of, and I'm sure they're really cool programs, guys. Yeah. Like I'm sure they do wild things that would blow our minds. You're talking to a bunch of Gen Xers here. So a lot of things blow our minds that have to do with computers, but I digress. Exactly. But they can be very overwhelming. And I have even heard, just in normal conversation, just with friends, acquaintances, clients, man, I don't have time to learn something else.
Yep.
So what do you say to that?
Well, you don't have time. You won't, you don't have to learn something new, really, honestly. You don't have to learn something new. It can be very, very simple. And we do have some simplicity, simple tools to use. And I needed that, right? When I first got involved in this business, I was a financial train wreck. I didn't know left from right when it came to money, and I avoided. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I needed to balance my checkbook, and I very rarely did that. And I knew I needed to pay my bills. That was it. And I didn't really think about saving. I didn't really think about anything else. And I always thought I was broke. And they showed me a way to stop thinking like a broke person, because really that was just perpetuating the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Are you setting us up for another episode? So I shouldn't ask for like maybe a little teaser on what one of
Well,
two of those could.
we do have some simple places to start to share today, but we are kind of setting you up for a future program
I
as well.
figured. I'm like,
Little
maybe I
laying
shouldn't ask.
the foundation. I like laying the foundation a little bit so we can build upon it, right? And so I will leave you with some simple steps today, and it's super easy to do. It just doesn't have to be overwhelming. And I think we've been programmed to think that it does have to be overwhelming and it does have to be hard because it's money.
Yeah.
And it's just not. It can be very simple, and it can take care of a lot of things, and you don't have to worry about it. You can just do the activity, move on with your life. And there's plenty of ways to do it.
Is there something that you might suggest that somebody can easily like start using today that would help kind of get them moving in the right direction, but not be so darn overwhelming that they just have, what was that? That was so cute, that term that you used earlier in the show, paralysis.
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah. Let's keep us out of that.
Yeah, let's do that. So there's five little steps that we'll share today. And the first one is get the truth on paper, without fixing anything yet. Don't put any expectations on it. It's just step one. And honestly, this is really before you do mindset work. It's before you do anything. You just answer 3 questions, and that's what's coming in monthly after taxes. You would be surprised how many people don't know how much money they earn every month. So what's coming in? What are the fixed expenses? Like the same thing every single month. What is your utilities? What's your mortgage? What's your rent? What is that? What debts exist? And you just need the balances and minimums. Don't get into anything else. And that's it. You don't need a spreadsheet. You can use it on a notes app. God, you could even use a pen and a paper to write it down. It doesn't take a lot, right? And this matters. What overwhelm does is it creates uncertainty, and therefore you avoid. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So if you write it down, it reduces the uncertainty, and you feel like you know what you're doing at that point. And when you have reduced uncertainty, your nervous system calms. And when your nervous system calms, you have the ability to make better decisions. Yeah. So there you go.
You have that access. You lose access.
First step.
I understand that you lose access to your resources, even though you're a super resourceful person normally, once you're in that fight or flight. And certainly money can get people there real quick.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Jen, you want to talk about step 2?
Sure thing. So the next step is to create a little bit of breathing room, just a little bit. Before goals, before investing, before wealth strategy, we want to ask, what could be paused, lowered, or eliminated this month? Like immediately, where can we get a little bit of relief? And where is money leaking that doesn't actually matter?
Like spending $80 a month on ice cream.
Or Starbucks.
Yeah.
Even freeing up $50 to $200 matters. And Trudi and I want you to know that we have a program to help families refinance their finances. And we can often find about this much or sometimes more. And if you want more info on that, just reach out to us. This matters because a little bit of progress creates a little bit of momentum. Momentum reduces shame, and reduced shame equals more engagement. You're going to not be afraid and feel all that ick when you're looking at your money. And that is your first win.
And then after you do those 2 things, this is really the time that you bringing in, you're ready for support at this time. So without that step 1 and step 2, honestly, you really don't know what help you need.
That makes sense.
And you may feel exposed or embarrassed or shameful, and therefore you avoid the conversation. So support could be something like us. I mean, you could call us. You could go to a workshop. You could buy a book. You could join a weekly accountability space. We just started a brand new financial power hour every month, and it's kind of like body doubling for ADHD. So you log in and you tell everybody what you're going to do about you're going to get your money stuff done. You tell everybody what you're going to do. You work for 50 minutes, and then you let us know what you got done, and then you log out. It's pretty simple to do. We're going to do that every Friday and open that up for people. So it's a place where it's honestly, I need to get my stuff done. So I created it. So
I love that.
So I can stop avoiding my own stuff, right?
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is where we put step 4 in. And step 4 is where we get to layer in the mindset work. Mindset matters, but it only sticks after you take action. And this is where you address, I'm not good with money. I can't afford to save. I've already messed this up. Because now you have proof, because you created a little bit of space. You put some things down on paper. You faced it and you didn't die.
Yeah.
And this is where identity actually starts to shift.
Love that. And then at that point, once you get that down, you can start to build a real simple system, and you can introduce the structure of a spending plan, which is, by the way, not restriction. It's just direction of your money. You can implement some protection strategies. I mean, like I said before, you can set up anything, financially, and start saving and doing all the things. One life event can take all that away. One life event can take all that away. So it's really important to have protection strategies in place. And then you can also start allowing your money to do more than one job, which is support you or, get you through survival. And it can actually start working for you instead of you work for it all the time. Right?
Now that's the goal.
This is really where people move from survival to strategy and start feeling some sort of empowerment. So those simple little steps is what really can help people get started without some overwhelm. Just simple little steps.
Thank you for sharing that. I love it when things are chunked down into bite-sized pieces. That tends to help me move forward in, especially, those harder moments in life, those harder things that we need to find the momentum and we need to find the strength to do. One thing that you said, Jen, that really stuck out to me is the worry of, hey, I've already screwed this up. Like, I am XX age and I'm a bad with money person, blah, blah. And I've done it for decades. And now I'm just so too far gone to even, think I can pull myself out of this. And I'm going to push back on that and say that is 100% wrong. I think we can do an about face at any time in life and learn just a couple of simple things that you ladies shared today to get us well on that road to recovery. A conversation I had with my son last night is 12. And we were talking about it was testing and schoolwork, and he had kind of bombed a test and he was feeling really bad about it. And I shared with him hey, most things in life, okay, not absolutely everything, right? We could think of a few things that aren't fixable, but most things in life we can fix. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is one of them.
Everything is fixable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything is fixable. Did you know that most people don't even start saving? 85% of Americans don't even start saving for retirement until they're 53.
And retirement's kind of knocking on the door there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so it's all quite possible. They go through life. They do all the things that they want to do. They get married. They have a job. They have kids. They pay for those kids. They get those kids in college and do all the things. And then they're like, okay, well, it's time for us to start saving now. So, everything is fixable. I was 43 when I found out all this information and started learning all of this. And so it's certainly not too late in life. Now if you're 60, 62 and you don't have anything, there's one thing we can do for you. You can come to work with us. That's
yeah.
But I mean, I can't do nothing with nothing. I can't do anything with nothing, so there has to be some sort of willingness, some sort of desire to make something happen. If you want something to change, you have to change something. And I think that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Thank you, ladies. I think this was an awesome first episode with you both. Thank you so much for sharing those simple ideas that can help somebody move over that overwhelm and move forward with, getting a handle, taking responsibility maybe for their their finances. So I really do appreciate that. Now, of course, I have your contact information in the show notes because I like to make it easy for our audience. But since this is the first show, what's the best way for our audience member, if they just want to have a quick chat, like maybe a little one-on-one with you guys, what's the best way to do that?
Well, there's plenty of ways you guys can reach out to us. You can reach out to us in Mom Nation. You can message us on Messenger. We are maybe a little bit too much on social media a lot. You can email us, Trudi at lmtophx.com. And Jen, if you want to share your stuff.
Yeah, I am Jen at finishingwell@eol.com.
Awesome.
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can
Instagram.
find me on
YouTube. I have a YouTube channel that I talk about all this stuff every day too, like 3 or 4 times a week. It's called Everything Dough. So I like to bake sourdough bread. I like to bake sourdough bread too, so it's a little play on words. So yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I've heard that that's not necessarily easy, the whole sourdough thing.
No, we've got some stuff figured out for you guys too about that. We'll get into it. Well, it's fun.
Awesome.
It's fun to play with. It's fun to play with.
Awesome. I love that. Well, thank you, ladies, for making yourselves so available for our audience. And guys, if you follow me on Facebook, they're friends of mine. So just look at my friends list and you can grab them from there. All right, guys. This is where I ask for your help. If you are appreciating the value that we are bringing each and every week, if you want Trudi and Jenn and I to have another conversation next month and the month after that, do me a quick favor and reach up on whatever platform you are listening or watching this on. Click the subscribe button, click the follow button. That sends us a great big hug and says, you know what, ladies, keep doing what you're doing here. And we really appreciate that feedback. If you want to check out any of our other podcast shows, this is the first show with Trudi and Jenn and I. So I was going to say previous episodes, but we don't have any. If you want to check out our other podcast shows or our Mom Nation YouTube channel, it is at Mom Nation USA. That's the handle. Scroll down just a little ways and you will see, what did we call this at the beginning of the show? The MDMS show.
Yes.
Make sense. So that's kind of our little short nickname for it, but you will see that playlist in red, and you can always come back to that playlist. If you happen to not be able to be on with us when we drop the episode, you can always go back to that library and check them out, check out the replays. On your favorite podcast platform, do a quick search for Mom Nation Talk Radio. There you'll find the same thing. We look forward to seeing you next month, ladies. Bye-bye.
What if one conversation today could protect your family tomorrow? What if money decisions felt clear instead of confusing? Meet Trudi Kaiser and Jenn Stone, financial educators and holistic support practitioners, helping women, families, and entrepreneurs plan wisely and live intentionally. Through financial education and protection strategies, empowering money workshops that build clarity, confidence and security, life insurance and living benefits guidance, Reiki and end-of-life support, and compassion-led planning for families, women, and entrepreneurs. They help you prepare with both strategy and heart. Secure your future with clarity, compassion, and confidence. Connect with Trudi and